Welcome to the screencast looking at climate change and to understand how and why climate has changed since the last ice age. These are the two key things you need to know. So let's start with how. If we look at this graph, we can see what's happened in pretty much the last 10,000 years in regards to climate change. And you can see that after 8000 BC we had a rapid rise. We've then had a fairly stable period with a couple of ups and downs. And then most recently of all, in the last kind of like 200 years, we've seen quite a rapid rise in global temperatures. And this is looking at the change from the averages, so this is a global average. So in an exam you could be asked to describe that pattern and describe what's going on. What's more likely to happen is that you're asked to be able to explain why. And what we're going to look at first off is the natural causes, which explains these kind of long-term trends. So the first thing which causes these trends is changes to solar output. Solar output is the amount of energy from the sun, and this varies. You have solar radiation outputs roughly every 11 years, and these lead to increases or decreases in global temperature between 0.5 and 1 degree C. And this can be explained using the Little Ice Age as an example, where the solar output failed, and we had a very cold period for approximately 70 years. The second factor which can cause natural climate change is changes to our Earth's orbit around the Sun, and it can change between a circular and elliptical pattern. During elliptical patterns we're warmer, and this can change approximately every 100,000 years. The Earth can also tilt as well between 21.5 and 24.5 degrees, and this also changes the way the Sun's radiation gets into our atmosphere and changes the heat as well. The solar output is probably the easier of those two to comprehend. We've then got volcanic activity. This is probably one of the easiest things, and it's probably one of the most misunderstood as well. Basic principle of it is volcanic eruption will lead to large amounts of ash and sulfur dioxide being released into the atmosphere. That acts as a cloak and blocks solar radiation getting into the Earth, which causes it to cool down. And this can be seen with Mount Pinatubo in '91, where the Earth's temperatures fell for a short period of time by 0.5 degree. The last natural factor is the surface reflection, and this is the concept that snow and ice, because they're white, bounce the sun's energies back into space, whereas darker surfaces will absorb. As a consequence, one of the things which occurs is if we have increased warming, we have less ice, and therefore we get warmer faster. And this is known as the albedo effect. Now, those four concepts are all natural processes which cause our Earth's climate to change. And then you could get a question like this: explain two causes of climate change since the last ice age other than increasing carbon dioxide levels. This is quite a flexible question, because you could write about any of the four above, and you could talk about something which is more recent other than carbon dioxide as well. Pause the video, have a go at answering the question. So here we have a model answer, okay? And this is aimed at looking at one good example. And the example we're looking at here, it scores 2 marks relating to the cows. And then you've got some other information coming into it as well. You must be writing about 2 causes in these answers, okay? This answer writes about 3 causes, but it gets the marks anyway. So just make sure that you're learning these different ideas and then learning them to explain them.